am Pastor Tabitha Mock, and I'm the director of the Texas Southern University Wesley Foundation. This past spring break, we were blessed to take TSU, Prairie View A&M, and Houston Community College students on a 5-day civil rights bus tour to Montgomery, Selma, Birmingham, Atlanta, and Memphis, Tennessee. We had a great time. The trip was absolutely amazing. I feel like we learned a lot of things. I also feel as if the students were greatly impacted by our trip. We definitely want to thank all of our supporters, our donors who made this trip possible, our board members, and every church that came together to help us get to our destination.
Hello everyone, my name is Alexis and Emily. I am a senior now at the Texas Southern University. I really enjoyed my experience, very inspirational. It definitely gave me an awakening to, definitely be aware of my surroundings and my community and make sure, I stay aware of the politics that's going on and make sure I vote and make sure, I speak up as well, use my amendment rights. Cause I know, many people from our past has definitely, stood up for me, even though I wasn't even alive yet. So I definitely got that from that, trip. And also one of my favorite, things I learned was, Abraham Lincoln. I thought at first that Abraham Lincoln really wanted, us free because he believed that we should be free, like the slaves to be free because he really believed that we should be free. But however, he was just trying to get the South back. And he was like, you know what? The South should pay for what they did to the North. And by seceding, you know what? No more slaves for y'all. So that was interesting to me because I was like, oh, I did not know that. I'm thinking, he really wanted to, but it was really a part of his plan to, get the South back. So that was one interesting fact that I learned. But other than that, I really enjoyed my time and I really had a good time fellowshipping. The Wesley Foundation was definitely like a family. Thank you. Have a great day.
And I'm a sophomore at Texas Southern University, majoring in accounting, and I also attended the Civil Rights Tour with TSU Wesley. I had a great time. I learned a lot, and walking across the Evan Pettis Bridge was also very surreal to know we were on the same bridge that these people fought for our rights for. And a fact that I learned that I didn't know when we went to Birmingham and we learned about the church bombings, I wasn't aware that there was 2 other people who also lost their lives along with the 4 girls, Johnny Robinson and Virgil Ware. I wasn't aware that 2 other boys had died. So when we were learning about it, it was kind of dang, they don't really teach about the history of these guys. They're mostly focusing on the girls. And we watched a documentary on it too. And after it was silent and we all just had a time to think and process about what we did. And then we went to the Lorraine Motel Museum and we saw the place that Dr. King died, and you could actually see the leftover blood on the floor and everything. And it was wow, this person that fought for the majority of our rights died here and we're actually standing in the same place. And it was very inspirational, and I could say that I learned a lot from the trip.
Got out of the survivor's guilt, understood that it wasn't his fault that it happened.
So that the bombing there is the reason that they moved to the old Sardis.
No, that's two different things.
No, that's what I'm saying. But that was one of the bombings that.
I'm Kiana Nguyen. I'm majoring in social work. I had the opportunity to go on the Civil Rights Tour with the Wesley Foundation. The tour was unexpected. Well, it hit me in ways where I didn't expect it to. So we visited the church bombing. What I didn't know was that there was a fifth girl, and just being in the church, it was like so deep. And then we watched a video, and then of one of the survivors, and then that left us all speechless. Like we were just all just sitting there afterwards. Another surreal moment was walking on the bridge, because before we even got to the bridge, we watched a movie. Selma never seen it before. I was asleep during like the first part of it because like it took a minute to get to the good parts. So, but I did wake up during the part where they were crossing the bridge, and then like seeing that, it just like put into perspective like what our ancestors had to go through to get us to where we are now. I am one of the people that don't vote just because I'm like, oh, I do think my vote doesn't matter and it's rigged, and like, you know, it doesn't matter. But after going on that trip, I do realize like how hard they had to fight, and what I take for granted, like they really was fighting for that right. And so, yeah, that's what I got from it.
Our scripture readings. Okay, I'm gonna read Micah. It's just 6:8. 6:8. Okay. He has shown you, O mortal, what is good, and what does the Lord require of you? To act justly, and to love mercy, and to walk humbly with your God. Amen.
Word of God for your people, God. Amen.
Hi, my name is Jade. I'm a freshman. My major is social work. I want to say what I got from the trip was a broadened sense of community and a clearer view of what our ancestors really had to go through, and how that translated to us being on the bus throughout the week. I got to meet a lot of people I already knew, but I really didn't know them, I guess. And we got to build relationships and have conversations that were just eye-opening. It's one thing to read about all that stuff in history. It's another to see it and to be with other people who understand the magnitude. So we were able to have a lot of discussions about what it was really like when we had to walk on the bridge. I'm scared of water, but I had a buddy who was just holding my hand and told me to look down the whole time. So it was just those experiences really opened me up to communicating. I was very quiet for a while. I didn't talk at all. My chaperone, she's like, oh, you know how to talk, when we settled in the first or second night. And I was like, oh, my bad. I got to meet a lot of upperclassmen, and their views of the world and history as we know it were very eye-opening. A lot of people know about Martin Luther King, but they don't know about the other people and other movements that happened to help him gain traction, I guess. The civil rights wasn't just about him, but it showed his courage spread to everybody else, so that we could just sit in this room right now and literally record this. If he would have never been you know what, this is not fair, I wouldn't be sitting in in front of this camera today. I would be in a colored school, uneducated.
Hi, my name is Oreo. I also went on the trip with TSU Wesley. What I really learned on this trip, I've always been a big civil rights, I don't want to say fanatic, but I've always been really, really interested in Black history and stuff. So the trip was really surreal for me. My favorite part of the trip was the Lorraine Motel
museum. I forgot what it was called. I really enjoyed that museum. It like showed like where everything started, like from slavery all the way to Barack Obama and Donald Trump. And it was like, we were there for about 2 hours. That I really love that part of the trip. Another part of the trip that I really enjoyed, it was being on the bus with like all the other students, all my colleagues. It really, I felt myself getting closer to everybody. Even now, some friends that I made on the bus that I didn't know who they were before, like we're still in contact. We still have a running group chat. We were talking in it today. That's honestly my favorite part of the trip, being able to make new friends, get closer to the people I already know. And yeah.
Welcome to Arkansas!
The most impactful tour, in my opinion, was the 16th Street Baptist Church. Is where I learned there was not only 4 girls who was in the bombing, there was 5 girls actually, and one girl is still living today. And even though like she was in critical condition, God blessed her through so she can tell her story. And it was really eye-opening because we got a chance to see a video of her even talking and describing the event. You could tell it was very like traumatic for her, and we all was wondering like, how is she like, how is she going through this, like how is she living through this. It was very interesting to hear from her point of view and see where the bombing was and the steps were and where the children were in the room. It was very inspirational. I really enjoyed it. That was my favorite tour.
The truth that I learned that I did not know, like I said previously, was about the 2 other boys that died the same night as the bombing on 16th Street Baptist Church. They were also succumbed to racial injustice, unfortunately, just by just being black. And then when we went to the National Voting Rights Museum, and we got to actually see the shoes and the clothes and the propaganda and the posters that people used back in that time, I was not aware about how brutal Bloody Sunday actually was. Like, it's one thing to hear about it, but to actually see everything, from the blood to the clothes to the ripped, like, just everything was very, like, eye-opening.
Right there in that corner, it was like, no, like, that's where it happened. We just watching the movie. I don't really want to be right there. Like,
so Jade, you did not want to stand where the steps were, where the dynamite was.
No. That was outside, right?
It was outside where the reef was.
Like where we all walked out of, like, and that, why did we walk out of right there? Why we couldn't walk out of somewhere else? Like, it was just.
You gotta follow the history.
Yeah, I feel like I was the opposite of you. Like, I actually wanted to stand right there because I just feel like it was like a surreal moment. Like, it was just like a wow, like it actually happened.
I feel like 1022 is such a weird time.
Exactly. Yeah, like that was such a weird time.
What made them just think like, and then 1022.
She said the Cabo Boys, and that reminded me of the. Oh yeah, when we went to the one in Selma, and I seen like how tall the people in the.
Hi, my name is Jade. This is Oreo, and I would just like to say that the trip brought us together and our love for Hamilton. We pushed all 5 days to watch it on the bus, and we couldn't make it happen, but we sung and performed for the whole bus, and they're gonna take us to Hollywood.
They told us to shut up, but we kept going.
Yeah, I fear we might have eaten. I don't know.
Yeah.
At the Lorraine Motel, I felt a range of emotions, honestly. Because, like, I've known about Martin Luther King my whole life. I've known his story from beginning to end for, like, at least 10 years. But to actually be there, like, I had never left the state of Texas, but to be there, and when we were, like, looking, we could see where the shooter shot from, allegedly, and the spot on the floor where his blood was. Like, that was at least over 20 years ago. why is his blood still there? It was pretty cool, and they had it carved out, and they told us that only special people could see it. But besides that, they kept his room the same as it was the day he was assassinated, and it was just like, this is real. Like, this is real. Like, this happened. Like, Martin Luther King was a real person the same way I am and everybody else was on the tour. And I don't want to say, it didn't make me feel like closer, but it just made me feel like this is like real. I don't know how to explain it besides it was real. Like, this is somebody I've read about, watched movies about for at least a decade. But I got to see the stuff he saw on his like last day out pretty much. It made me more self-aware of the state of the world that he lived in and the state of the world now. I felt like a heightened sense of activism. Like, he put his life on the line and really didn't care, just so future generations like ourselves could just take that tour. It was a once in a lifetime opportunity, and I definitely like still go back and look at like some of the videos I took. And when I got back home, I told all my friends about it, and I was like, guys, like, it's crazy, like, just to know you are where history took place. And it was just like a really spiritually awakening moment.
The hardest part of the tour for me personally, we were just talking about getting overstimulated. It was every day. I was tired. It was still fun, but we were always so busy. We were constantly moving. There were some days I was just like, I don't know if I'm gonna get off this bus today. The last day actually, no, not the last day. We were in Atlanta. The MLK trip. I was just like, I don't think I'm gonna get off this bus today. And I ate a little sandwich, and I was like, you know what? I feel better. Let me go participate. And it was fun. But yeah, the hardest part for me personally was getting overstimulated and tired all the time. But really, that was it. Everything else, like being to all those places, being on the bus, everything was really, really fun.
I'm a senior at Texas Southern University. My major is biomedical science with a concentration in pharmacy. And overall, I feel like the trip was like enlightening. Like, I learned a lot. I got to see a lot. And I met like some great people along the way as well.
Okay, my name is Taylor McDaniel. I'm a sophomore business and marketing major. And the trip for me was really fun. I was surrounded by my entire family and friends. And it was really surreal to experience real life events firsthand. But not experience them, just learn about it and actually be there. So I can speak for myself when I say I would 100% recommend this tour for other students. Number one, it's a free trip, just like to get out of the house on spring break. I know a lot of students. I would 100% recommend this tour to others. Like I was saying, it's a free trip for students. I know a lot of students can't really go places during spring break. A lot of students can't really go home. So just to get out somewhere, some students haven't even been outside of Texas where they're growing up in. So this is an experience of a lifetime. And then number two, we've learned about this in our entire lives. And just to see it in real life, it just gives you a different aspect on the things that we've talked about and really how much our ancestors really fought so that we can have the necessities and the things that we have today.
And so now Dr. King's going to talk to his driver, whose name is Solomon Jones, who's actually standing up under him. And Solomon says, Dr. King, grab a jacket because the weather fluctuates in Memphis. It's raining, then it's hot, then it's cold, and, so grab your jacket because you just never know. So Dr. King is actually in agreement to grab his jacket, but he's leaning across the rail, so he pushes off at approximately 6:01 p.m., and that's when the shot is fired from across the street. And Dr. King would fall backwards onto this square, which is right outside this window. And this square actually represents the last place his body would lay on the grounds of the Lorraine before being transported to St. Joseph's Hospital, which is now the famed St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital. So if you all have any questions for me, founded in 1925 as the Windsor Hotel. So the Windsor's going to be a whites-only establishment, but it's always been located in this section of the city, which has always been a predominantly black section of the city. So needless to say, they actually weren't making a lot of money, and eventually they would have to sell.
Sometimes we don't get out of our own comfort zones often enough to really see all that could be happening. So I pray that as you go through the next couple of days of this trip, you see something that inspires you, whether it be something that you saw in a museum that somebody else did because you got great ideas. Y'all generation, we're trusting y'all to really help change the world. And y'all can do it. I'm talking about changing dramatically because the world needs a whole lot more love, and the world needs a whole lot more creativity and a whole lot more purpose and a whole lot more honesty. And it's in y'all. So that's my prayer. I'm grateful that y'all stopped by here and y'all blessed us just by sitting on our furniture today. Y'all blessed us. We got some great things going on here. We're building and rebuilding Gammon for the future. And we want to be able to equip students who hear a call from God and answer a call, but we want to do it in a very relevant kind of way, right? So no more just kind of old school, sitting in class all day looking at a book. It's got to be like, Pastor Tabitha is doing, loading y'all up on a bus and saying, we're going to go see some stuff. And so I'm just praying that y'all have continue to have a great time and have safe travels, but that you really leave the trip inspired. But the only way you're going to get more inspired, you got to stay open. So that's my prayer for you, that you really just stay open.
My name is Lisa Howard Davis, and I'm a board member of TSU's Wesley Foundation. I lived through the civil rights movement. I saw everything on TV. I saw the men being hosed down and shot and killed and blood on the Pettus Bridge. I had my first opportunity to walk across that bridge. Our first stop was Montgomery, Alabama. We stopped at the state capitol where the Martin Luther King gave his speech when the Selma to Montgomery march ended. We stood on the same steps that Martin Luther King stood on. We found out that that state capitol was designed and built by a black man. His last name was King, which is my family name, which also made me extra proud. Just to know that every intricate detail of the architecture, the freestanding spiral staircase, all of the marble and granite was designed by a black man that was brought from Europe as a slave. His slave owner had to free him for him to be able to be a contractor to build that capitol. They were both bridge builders in Europe. And just to know that that man was freed to build a major monument in the 1800s that is still standing and used today was very powerful for me. We had lunch on the lawn. All of the kids sat around and enjoyed their sandwiches and chips, and it was so heartwarming that they got a chance to, they don't even know the magnitude of the experience that they had. When we walked across the Pettus Bridge, one of the students was overwhelmed with tears, and she was consoled by one of her friends. And that was particularly moving to me, that she felt it to that magnitude that she wept. All through the trip, I had to hold myself together because I saw my mama cry while we were watching it on TV. I saw the anger in my father while we watched it on TV. I saw all of these things happening that these kids have only been able to read about. And that was an experience I will always remember. Going to see everything that went, Martin Luther King's church, the Martin Luther King Foundation, and he had to move his family from Atlanta to Alabama because of so many threats on his life. But he was so committed to this cause that he continued to see the Lorraine Bridge. One of the other chaperones grandson asked our tour guide, "What is that stain on the patio?" The tour guide said, "That's a stain from Martin Luther King's blood that we have had it cleaned time and time and time again. And the stain of Martin Luther King's blood will not come out of the cement on the patio of the Lorraine Hotel." We got to see that with our own eyes. They kept the same furniture that was in the hotel on that very day. Furniture that I've seen time and time again in elders' at families' homes as a child. It brought back so many memories just seeing my aunt that was a maid for the white people in River Oaks. But she knew fine things from being in their home. And she had found things in her home that they were hand-me-downs from the white people that she worked for. And those very same types of furniture was in the Lorraine Hotel. That was particularly moving for me. And then the next day we went to the church where the girls were killed. They were killed because a white man placed a bomb under steps that led up to the second floor. Those steps are no longer there. Just to know that will never happen in that church again. But that happened. I saw it on TV. That was life-changing. That was life-changing for Black Americans overall. The whole world had to open their eyes when they saw face to face the evilness of the white people back then. And so much is still happening today. When they saw that evilness, the church decided to take the steps down. On the tour, we found out that out of all of the stained glass windows in that church, one was broken. It was Jesus's face and Jesus's heart. Those were the only two parts of the stained glass in that church that were broken. And that broke my heart just to find out that information. It was everything about that place is sacred. There were certain parts of the church that we could not even take pictures in because they considered it holy ground. And for that, I am grateful of that experience. The kids were much better than I anticipated. I had a lot of anxieties. The students were as far as students go in college, the students were they were students, but they were mannerable, they were respectful, and for that I am appreciative. And I love and appreciate Pastor Tab for inviting me on the trip. And I love whoever the anonymous donor is that made the donation for this trip to be possible. To everyone watching this video, if you are not registered to vote, please register to vote. Lives were lost so that we would have a voice. Please register to vote. Your vote counts. You can make a difference if you only go vote. And encourage all of your friends and family that are voting age to vote. Thank you.
Founded in 1884. This year will be 140. Yes, 140 in November of this year. We've had several pastors through the years, but our claim to fame in history is that this is the place where the Alabama Christian Movement for Human Rights was started on June 5th, 1956. And it was founded by Reverend Fred Shuttlesworth and our then pastor, Reverend Robert L. Alford. And
Again, I would just like to say a special word of thanks to every person, every church, every pastor, every organization that helped us make our spring break civil rights tour a success. As we continue to teach our students about Peace with Justice Ministries, and as we continue to lead them into social advocacy and to be the voice of Christ as it pertains to doing justice and loving mercy and walking humbly with God, we invite you to continue to pray for us as God leads us to help this tour become a future reality for generations to come. And we also ask that if you are interested in finding out how you can be a part of future trips of the sort, or how you can make a contribution of any type to future trips of this sort, contact me directly. And please visit our webpage, tsuwesley.com, or email us at txsowesley@gmail.com. Thank you.